Hi, welcome to the Badass Breastfeeding Podcast. This is Dianne, your lactation consultant.
And I'm Abby, the Badass Breastfeeder, and today's episode is brought to you by Cake Maternity. Cake Maternity has spent over 16 years developing their range of styles, which include hands-free pumping bras, supportive nursing sports bras, lace plunge nursing bras, skin-to-skin birthing bras, comfy sleep bras, and I could go on and on and on. And we will hear more from our sponsor later, but you can head to badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com and check out our sponsor page. If you ever need anything, see if you can give any of them your business because they make this podcast possible. And while you're there, scroll down and enter your email address, and we will send episodes straight to your inbox every week. And we're on Patreon, and we would hope to see you over there. And you can check the top link under the show notes, wherever you're listening from, and see if any of the tiers look good to you. We have a lot of original content. We have our mini podcasts. We have Zoom Hangouts every month. We have extra ad-free episodes. We have our Revolution Parenting episodes, our started and stopped parenting podcast of a few years ago, which, by the way, I was looking at. Somebody left a comment on Facebook, which I can't remember what post it was on, but they were like, "Hey, are you ever going to start Revolution Parenting again? I really miss it." I was like, fun. "Oh, wow." Yeah, it was fun. Because we could just talk about whatever parenting stuff that we're going through, or maybe we'll consider it.
Yeah, maybe we'll consider it. We'll chat about it.
So that's all going on in there in Patreon. So check the tiers and see if you like any of those. And let's see, we're still hosting our ongoing giveaway for people who leave reviews around the internet. And you could take a screenshot and send it to badassbreastfeedingpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll send you a goodie bag. And someone sent me, she wasn't able to write a review on her app, so she shared the podcast onto her Facebook page and wrote a little review and sent me a screenshot and was like, "Would this be okay?" And I was like, "That's a really cute idea. If you can't leave if your podcast app doesn't have a way to write a review, or to how Spotify has stars and stuff, to share it to your friends."
That's awesome.
on your pages or whatever you've got. I think that's nice.
Yeah, that was awesome that she did that for us.
Yeah,
spread it around,
and it's just about what we're obviously what we're trying to do is get more visibility to the podcast. So if you have if you're helping with that, then absolutely you get a goodie bag.
Yeah.
Let's see. And now Dianne has our review of the week.
Yes. And this one just came in the other day, actually, and it says that she loves the podcast. Recently found this as a new breastfeeding mom, and it's my favorite. You guys rock. So it doesn't have to be this long podcast or long review. We love the long ones too. It gives us it tells us a story about what's been going on with you and all that stuff. But these short and sweet ones are great too. It doesn't have to be this long review or anything. You can just be short and sweet and say, "Hey, I listened to you. I'm over here."
Hi.
Hi. So
yeah,
we love it. We love it. It's great. Thank you so much for listening to us and for sending that in for us. And we'll send you a goodie bag for it. And it's fun. We send them out every week, just about. So,
yeah. When I don't have goodie bags for that week to send over to Dianne, because I'll gather the addresses and stuff and send them over to her to send out. And when I don't have any to send over to her, I'm sad.
I know.
I'm I want to send stuff out. So don't feel like you're "Oh, I don't know." We want to send it out.
Yeah, we've got it to send out.
It's fun for us.
Mm-hmm. It is. I'm sure the people at the post office love me.
You must know them very well now.
And you would think, but every time I still say to them, which maybe I should just let it go, but they never say, okay, I know, or yes, I'm familiar. But as every time I'm like, this goes out as large envelope, just so they know, right?
Yeah.
And they never say anything about it, so who knows?
Oh, yeah.
I would think they know me. You still have to always fill out that thing or click that it's not perishable or blowing up or,
These are not explosives that I'm sending to our listeners.
Yeah. So silly.
Yeah. So yeah, you can send their address in and we'll get it out to you. And before we move on to our podcast, to our episode topic today, we have a question that came in a while ago that we actually forgot to answer. So I'm going to answer it here, and then I'm going to reply to Chantel. See, that name is hard for me because I knew a Chantal in Amsterdam, and her name was Chantal. But I don't think you say that here. How do you say that name here?
I think it's Chantal.
Chantal.
More of an A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chantal, we're going to answer you and then I'll email you back. I promise. So she says, I know you guys have covered this in an episode and I forgot. Is it okay to combine fresh breast milk with breast milk cold in the refrigerator? Or is that a myth? I've already done it for 2 3-ounce bags, but now I'm second guessing myself.
It's probably not going to do anything if you mix it together like that. But what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to bring them to the same temperature. So you're supposed to put what you just pumped in the fridge, let it both become cold, and then mix it together after that is what you're supposed to do. I think people do all sorts of things. The bacteria is what we're trying to avoid, but it's human milk and it doesn't really grow bacteria like formula does.
Yeah.
So, and if you have a healthy baby, I mean, it's different breast milk storage rules are completely different if you have like a preemie in the NICU. Like everything is different. But if you have a full-term healthy baby, it's a little bit more relaxed, I'll say. But yeah, you're supposed to bring it to the same temperature before you add it together.
So like from now on, do that, but don't like throw it away if you did it or something. Don't do that. Just use it. Just be like, oh, okay, I'll do this from now on. Just, because there'll be a lower chance of
just lower chance of bacteria. Yeah, that's all. But yeah, don't throw anything away.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that's those little things that people just are going through daily where it's like, wait a minute, what was the rule on this again? Yeah, because who can remember everything all the time?
I know it. And milk storage stuff does come up like that. Like, all right, like, how do I add this in again? Like, what happens? I mean, it's not going to blow up if you add it together. Right. I mean, it's totally fine. But
a lot of explosive conversations today on that.
I know it. Oh my gosh. Why do I? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But today we're going to talk about plugs, mastitis, and abscesses because I saw this. I told Abby it was a great abscess the other day.
I saw this great abscess yesterday. I was like, ew, what does that mean?
It was just a wild situation. That's all. But
okay.
But that made me think that we never really talked about abscesses before on the podcast because they're not that common. But I thought we could roll it right in with plugs and mastitis because that is common. And they can all lead to abscess.
Yeah.
So we figured we would just chat about it today because I don't know if we've done them all. I know we've done episodes on mastitis, and I think we've talked about plugs here and there, but it's been a little bit. So
it
doesn't hurt. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to revisit it. But plugs are super common, and I mean we call them plugs. What it really is swollen milk ducts. You don't actually have like milk stuck in your breast causing a plug. Like it's just, they're swollen milk ducts. And it causes a hard spot on the breast that can feel like tender or sore. Some people describe it as painful. I think it really just depends on your level of pain tolerance, honestly. But they can feel like, it definitely feels hard. It could be red. It could be warm to the touch. That is what we call a plug. So what you want to do with that is you want to put ice on it because it's swelling. So you treat it like you would any body part that's swollen. You don't massage them. You don't put heat on them. You put ice and you take an anti-inflammatory medication like ibuprofen or something like that. And Tylenol. And Tylenol for pain. Or whatever the Tylenol is. Acetaminophen, whatever it is. That should take care of their plug. The other things you can do to kind of like maintenance them is take sunflower or soy lecithin. That helps. And some people do wonder, like, should I take this? Is it helpful? If you get a plug, start taking them. And then you can take them if you take them. You would take 3 to 4 capsules if you have a plug. And once the plug is gone, you can still continue to take it for maintenance, but only take like 1 or 2 a day. And then if you get another plug, then up it again. But you should be able to, that really helps a lot to kind of take care of them. If some people are just prone to getting them, and you just get them and the baby can help pull them out sometimes, can help to kind of like pull that milk through and make it feel a little bit better. But some people are just prone to getting them. They're just kind of miserable.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Yeah. Did you ever get one?
I did. I think I had one once. It was, because back then we were like massaging things and
yeah, I know.
And I was just like pumping and yeah, and I get like, I don't know, this like stringy stuff came out. I thought it was that, maybe not.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
And then I was like, oh, that must be what the problem is. And then I didn't have it recurring or anything.
So it used to be, like Abby said, it used to be that we would say, oh, you massage that area, really, massage it. You want to get that plug out. You want to put, heat on there, make things move. Now they're saying, no, that is not what you do, that can actually make it worse. Massaging could actually make it worse. It's really important that you don't massage. And that is because it can make it worse. Now, that is newer information, like over the last couple of years. Yeah. So if you see, like, if you go to your OB for this or your midwife, they might tell you to massage the area, or your doctor, because they don't know. They don't keep up with the most recent information. And that is really important that you don't do that. Make sure you're supposed to treat it like you would like a sprained ankle or a sprained body part. You would not massage it. You would not put heat on it. You want to treat the breast the same way. We're putting ice and we're taking ibuprofen for it. If it doesn't resolve within like 24 hours, or if you start to get like flu-like symptoms, like you start to get a fever, you start to get feeling yucky, feeling that could be the start of mastitis. So you want to get an antibiotic if you feel like that, because that is, now that plug is getting infectious is what's happening. So you're going to have to move on into the next step of things and get an antibiotic, which sucks, but
yeah,
you still have to get rid of this. So an antibiotic will help, and it's perfectly safe to nurse through all of this stuff. You don't have to stop nursing. You don't have to stop feeding your baby like usual. Don't pump. That was the other thing that people would say to do. Empty the breast. you want to just do what you normally do. You don't want to do extensive amounts of stuff. One of the things that causes mastitis in plugs is hyperlactation or oversupply.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the things that causes it. And one of the things that's pretty typical for causing it is oversupply. And what causes oversupply is extended amounts of pumping and on top of feeding. So you want, or some people just have an oversupply. That's just what they have. So you don't want to make that worse by doing even more stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely just feed or pump like you normally would. Don't do excessive amounts of feeding and pumping. Just do what you normally do and take the medication. Make sure that you, if you are, if you do have mastitis, if it did turn infectious, you don't wake up. So if you wake up in the morning and you find that you have a plug, don't automatically think you have mastitis because you don't.
Mm-hmm.
It is just that plug. You don't have an infection typically. And I say typically because this abscess was a completely untypical thing. But you typically do not get mastitis, infectious mastitis, without like the fever symptoms and stuff like that.
Yeah, like instantly.
Right. You don't get that instantly. Your body doesn't get an infection like overnight. So it does take some time for it to turn into an infection. Which is why we want to try to get rid of it first with the ice and ibuprofen for the first 24 to 48 hours. And then you're moving into mastitis, which is, you might feel miserable, which is like for about 24 hours until the antibiotic kicks in, which is awful while you're trying to take care of a baby and possibly other children, if you have other children too. It's just miserable.
Totally
miserable.
Miserable to have to parent with any kind of anything happening with your, any discomfort or anything. And then on top of it, you might have just like these flu-like symptoms that make it, ugh.
I know, your boob hurts. It's just miserable. So keep feeding through it. I remember when I had mastitis with Nathan, I didn't have anything with the twins because the milk was just leaving my body at such a fast rate that I didn't have any kind of anything with them. But I did have it with Nathan, and it was during a period where I hated breastfeeding. I was not a fan, and I was hoping that they would tell me that I had to stop breastfeeding.
Oh,
but they were like, nope, keep feeding.
Oh,
and
wow,
they didn't.
That's unusual.
I know. Considering too, it was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
So, you would think that, they would have said, no, you have to stop. But no, they didn't. They were like, nope, keep feeding. And so I kept feeding, and I ended up enjoying my breastfeeding relationship with him. It just took a little bit of time. But you could definitely still keep feeding. It's totally safe. It's totally fine. Your baby's not getting an infection. Nothing like that is happening.
Yeah.
Let's take a break, and then we'll move on to abscesses.
Okay. I can't wait to hear about the great abscess. We're going to hear that story, right?
Yeah, I'll tell it.
All right. We'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by Cake Maternity. Cake Maternity is a designer of comfortable, functional, and beautiful maternity and nursing bras. As mothers themselves, they understand that no two breastfeeding journeys are alike. They've spent over 16 years developing their range of styles. These styles include hands-free pumping bras, supportive nursing sports bras, lace plunge nursing bras, skin-to-skin birthing bras, comfy sleep bras, and everything in between. They also understand the changes our bodies go through during pregnancy and breastfeeding, which is why they cater 28 to 44 band sizes and A through L cup sizes. So regardless of your size, style, or whether you're breastfeeding, pumping, or both, Cake Maternity has done the hard work so you can focus on what's important, nourishing your baby. And you can shop their entire range of maternity and nursing bras as well as their clothing and their accessories online at cakematernity.com. That's cake, like birthday cake, CAKE, maternity.com. And use code BADASS for 15% off of your purchase. And all of our sponsors and their promo codes can be found in the show notes under this episode, wherever you're listening from, or over at badassbreastfeedingpodcast.com on our sponsor page that we talked about earlier. And over there, you'll also find all of our other episodes, our resources page, and information about scheduling your very own one-on-one online lactation consultation with Dianne, which I highly recommend if you find an abscess.
Absolutely. So, yeah. So if you don't do these things, it can turn into an abscess. Or if you don't get it taken care of, you just kind of ignore your mastitis. You kind of ignore, I'll just, it'll get better. Things can change and get worse. Ugh. And it can turn into an abscess, which is infectious. I don't want to say, how do I even say, like, pocket? That's a good word for it. An infectious pocket of pus in the breast. So the situation that I had was she had contacted me. She had gone to her primary, who I know and adore, and her primary told her to get in touch with me. But I told her originally, because it was just a plug, just, do the ice, ibuprofen, all that stuff. I had been doing that. It was a pretty stubborn plug. It wasn't really, nothing was helping with it. She was doing all sorts of things to try to get it. She went to her OB just for her regular checkup, her regular 6-week. And they told her, of course, put heat on it and all that stuff, which she only did because then she contacted me and they gave her an antibiotic. So she contacted me and she was like, they told me heat and you told me ice. And I'm like, I know that inconsistencies are frustrating, but this is newer information and your OB just might not be up on it, which is totally fine. It's, just kind of how it is. So she stopped doing the heat and went back to ice with it and started taking the antibiotic. Still wasn't budging. Her OB sent her on to chiropractor to do ultrasound therapy, which they just do, they put the ultrasound wand on it and it helps to kind of it's supposed to help to bring down the swelling and stuff like that. She went and did that a couple of times and it didn't work. And then she called me again. She contacted me again and she said, no, and this is all through a 3-week span of time too. This went on for a long time. And she contacted me again and she's like, I texted her. That's right. I went to check in on her and she was at urgent care, which if anybody doesn't know what urgent care is if you're not from the US, urgent care is just these pop-up clinics, right? That you just go into if you have a problem after hours and your doctor isn't available. So she goes into urgent care and they were okay in there because typically they don't know what to do with a lactating breast. Urgent cares and emergency rooms are not good with lactating breasts. So they just aren't good with it. So she was good with it, but she did think that maybe because she was getting a soft spot. She had a soft spot. And they said, maybe it's from the ultrasound. So she was like, okay. That's what they thought. Maybe that's what they told her at urgent care.
Getting maybe an ultrasound gave her a soft spot?
That thought maybe it was helping to get rid of the plug.
Okay.
So that's what they said. So she was like, okay. And then she had planned to meet with me the next day. So I'm like, okay. So now we've got all sorts of things. She's antibiotic. She never had flu symptoms. She said there was one day where she kind of felt fluish, but then it went away. She really didn't have. So she'd been on the antibiotic. She'd been doing all the things. She'd been taking the lecithin. She'd been doing all the things. And I see her, she comes in and she's got this like pretty significant size red spot, hard red spot on the breast. And in the middle is this soft area, probably as big as like a 50-cent piece, like bigger than a quarter. Yeah, it was bigger than a quarter size on her breast, which was very clearly an abscess. Ugh. And it was soft, and it was almost like translucent, where you could see the pus through there.
Oh my God.
And I was like, no, I think this is an abscess, and because it's very much like, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't see them that much.
Yeah.
And I always worry about like, what's my scope too, because what's the doctor's scope and what's my scope?
Yeah.
Is it my scope to say like, this is an abscess, this is what you need to go do? But I was like, no, this really looks like an abscess to me. Let me bring in one of the nurses. And because she is a patient at the office that I work out of. So I was able to bring in the nurses and the doctors for this. So I brought the nurse in, and the nurse had never seen one before either. I mean, I've seen them before, but very infrequently. But the nurse had never seen it. So she even said, like, that looks like an infection to me. And then, so we said, we'll bring in the doctor. So we brought in the doctor, and he confirmed it. And he was like, all right, we're getting this taken care of today. And it was cute because she said, are you asking me or are you telling me like that's what we're doing? He's like, no, I'm telling you, this has to be taken care of today. Like, you have to get this taken care of today. And they couldn't do anything there. They had to send her to another clinic, like a breast clinic, to have it ultrasounded, to look at it and see where the fluid was and get that pocket of fluid, make sure that was the only thing in there, and has to be drained. So they have to go in there with a needle and drain it.
Ugh.
And she said that because I talked to her afterwards, and she said that that's what they did, because she was worried. She was like, because if they get bad and they go on, you leave them for a period of time and it gets worse, it's going to kill the breast tissue, and they have to like surgically go in there and like remove it.
Oh my God.
Which I have seen that happen, where somebody had to have, like, it was so bad that they had to have surgery to get it taken care of.
Oh my God.
I know. Awful. And so this poor mother was like, am I going to, like, do I have to have surgery? Is it going to, like, are they going to have to cut into my boob? Like, what is going to happen? And we were like, no, they're just going to drain it. It wasn't to that. I was like, it's not to that point to where they're going to have to, like, I've definitely seen worse than this. And they're just going to drain it. And she's like, what is that going to feel like? Is it going to hurt? She's like, well, I can do anything for just a few seconds. It's fine. I had babies. She's like, I just,
That's true.
Like, it'll be fine. And she she told me they took 3 syringes full of fluid.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh.
I know it. And she said she instantly felt relief with it.
Wow.
Once they did. And they told her there was like several pockets of fluid in that area that they needed to address. Yeah.
Oh.
So it could be. And then she felt fine. She was like, am I going to be able to nurse right away? Like, what can happen? And I said, no, you absolutely can just nurse her right away. And just do it as normal. We're just going to, treat things as normal. But she also had a lot of milk in that breast. That was her high producing breast, where she had a lot of milk. And we're thinking that was the problem, was that she just had that, hyperlactation and has a lot of milk. Now she also has a toddler. So she was like so relieved. She was like in tears that somebody finally was taking care of this problem for her.
Yeah.
Because she was just like, this has been exhausting.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine, like, every morning I would be waking up going, is it gone? Is it still here? Like, what are we doing with it?
And then it's getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Yeah. getting bigger and getting worse.
And like, oh my God, you're just like, do I have some like flesh eating disease?
I mean, it was just terrible.
Ugh.
So I felt bad. I was like, I should have brought you in sooner. And but she had seen all these people, but getting, so it wasn't a typical situation. Whereas
Right.
like, okay,
I mean,
she got it. She got sick. She had all these symptoms. And I've definitely seen that happen too, where people have had very limited symptoms and ended up with an abscess. And then I've seen people have horrible symptoms and nobody listens to them and end up with an abscess.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you don't know what your body's going to do. Everybody's body is going to react different based on
exactly
a whole bunch of different things.
Exactly. And you just don't know. And the nurse was like, I don't know how that wasn't painful because it was so red. And I go, I don't know, maybe she just has a high pain tolerance or something.
I mean, yeah, we tend to, as in women, the birthing people.
And I mean, and she's like, she went to go nurse the baby while she was sitting there while we were waiting for the doctor to come in. And the baby like put her hand up and smacked it, like just, and she just kind of like grabbed the baby's hand. But it's, well, he was poking around while the doctor was poking around there and kind of pressing into that area, to feel the abscess and stuff. She was like, it just feels a little tender. It's not like it's super painful. But you would have thought that it would be. So it definitely was not like, but if things go too long and the antibiotic, he's like, I'm totally switching your antibiotic. Like, I don't know why they gave you the one they did. So there's a lot of things that could have been done differently in this case. And it ended up leading to an abscess, but you just have to be, and she kind of knew, she's like, I just kind of knew like something isn't right,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely advocate for yourself if this is going on, if it's not going away, if you're still feeling bad. If you get mastitis and you don't feel better within 24 hours, you need to definitely say something because it could be that the antibiotic isn't right for whatever strain of infection you have. So you definitely want to have that considered and maybe switched out. You should feel better within 24 hours of getting mastitis if you've been on an antibiotic for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to definitely be an advocate for yourself and say something because you don't want things leading into being an abscess.
Yeah, it's annoying that you have to do that, but not everybody knows what's going on.
Most
people that you run into are not going to know.
And she said that she was at a baby shower and knew somebody there who was a PA and was talking to them about it. And even they said ice and ibuprofen.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, that's newer information. She goes, I was kind of impressed that she knew that. She goes, but she said, that's newer information. So definitely listen to your lactation consultant. You want to see a lactation consultant. You definitely, if you're having problems like this, you definitely want to be seen by a lactation consultant and seen too, because you tend to, and this happened to me when I had mastitis with Nathan. I just called them on the phone and said, this is my symptom. This is what I got. And they're like, oh, you have mastitis. And they just gave me an antibiotic and never saw me.
Oh, yeah.
Either. So it is important that you're seen and somebody looks at you and gets eyes on you and make sure everything is, that you don't have it getting into some other horrible abscess situation.
Yeah. I feel like antibiotics sometimes are just recommended or prescribed just for as a default.
Yeah.
But you don't want that. You don't want to overuse antibiotics.
No, you don't. You really don't. No. So that's my story.
Well, that sounds like a great abscess.
It was a great abscess. It was a great abscess story. So I want everybody to don't be afraid to breastfeed. If you're listening to this and you're pregnant, don't be afraid because it's not something that happens to everybody. But definitely just be wary of what your body's doing. Be on the lookout for things like plugs, anything that doesn't feel normal to you. Yeah. And don't be afraid to be vocal about it.
Don't be afraid to go to somebody else.
Yeah, that's too.
Just deal with it.
Yeah.
Just ask someone else.
So
But thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.